You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. Well, today, I'm sure you're waiting as always to get my take. I really have no take to give except to be thankful to God that I'm alive, because I'm actually and still surprised that I'm alive, because on Wednesday, I went to Tema to court to do my normal business. And on this occasion, I went to do a case for free of charge for a retired couple. And on my way back, together with an intern, we got somewhere on the motorway, and there was this pickup Mazda vehicle that was also heading from Accra to Tema instead, and he busted his tire, we are told by the police now, and somersaulted all from his end, went through to the median barrier, hit the drain, the open drain in the middle of the median barrier, and flew up in the skies. And all we saw was that this car had landed face down on my vehicle. And I thought myself dead. But thanks to God, can only be a miracle. Here I am. And I'm surprised that doctors have run checks and double checks and scans, and they say there is zero effect except for the little bruise I had on my right hand, as you can see if you're watching the television. And just a bit here in my head, if you can see. Yeah. But I'm perfectly in good shape, thanks to God. And I say this can only be a miracle, because if you have seen my vehicle, and if you have also seen the vehicle that landed on my vehicle, you would have concluded that it was done, because that's the natural conclusion that anybody ought to come to. But you see, I've gone back to that spot and examined something, and it appears to me that from the opposite side where this driver, God keep his soul, I can't imagine what he went through before he died, and seeing how difficult it was for helpers to try to pull him out of that vehicle that is now flat. It was sad. I discovered that it appears that on the portion where he's said to have busted his tire, there are about 2 deep, sharp potholes on that stretch of the motorway. And it appears he was on speed, and that is the point where he unknowingly hit and busted his tire. And that's what can explain why and how his car somersaulted so many times and ran to the other side and to, reach us. So that's by way of my take. I think that we may want to go there and check the potholes on the motorway, because people drive on the motorway at a speed. Of course, the limit speed is supposed to be 100 kilometers per hour. So if you get into such a pothole, you never know what may happen if you bust your tire in such a situation. I can only say that I'm thankful to God that I'm alive, my intern unscathed, completely unhurt. Just that there's supposed to be some trauma management that we have to go through, because the doctors say this is what they call a near-miss experience. And thanks to the doctors at 37 Military Hospital, Dr. Caesar, Dr. Sewa Abdallah, and the host of you, to Abane and Evelyn Nyako. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Dr. Pakwisi, for all the help that you have given me. Thank you very much. Now, we'll get settled down and do business this morning. And as you're already aware, Mahama Ayariga has apologized. So is that it? And he's been told to go and sin no more. Is that really it? There are questions that are being asked. Parliament, do they really want us to take them seriously? Is that what they ought to have done? We'll look at that. And there are matters coming up about the Delta Force, the NPP's Delta Force. that decided that they will not even act in the manner that the Muntie 3 did, just sit in studios and threaten judges. They went into a courtroom in their numbers and freed 13 of their members who had been arrested and were to stand trial. That's the height of the impunity that has gotten to. We have had some people that have gone on the road of rationalization, and we'll look at all of those issues. And is the president really serious about this when he promised that he will end it? What exactly has he done to end this? And if the president cannot end this, what else can he do? The IGP, the Interior Minister, the Security Minister will hear the stuff they have been saying. The Ashanti Regional Police appears to suggest that there were only a couple of police persons at the place. And I have colleague lawyers who were in that court. They have told me, they've given me some account. Yet, these guys sat here in Accra and told all of us that about 20 police officers or so were sent to that place. Who is telling lies? Obviously, those who sat here in Accra and are supposed to know better. So the threat of the Delta Force, we'll look at that. Not only the Delta Force, you know these groupings are all over the place. They are Zoka boys, the invisible forces who have terrorized people for quite a while now. And even while the president continues to say that this must end, they have still been on the impunity, running around the place and behaving as if this was a lawless country. We have the NDC's quote-unquote fraudulent Ameri-Power deal to speak about. The NPP government has done a review of the Ameri deal. That's an emergency power project that was brought to the country to save us from the Dumso situation. We are told that the review discloses nothing but fraud. Ghana was shortchanged, paying so much money that we ought not be paying. The NDC says, if you really are sure that this was a fraudulent deal, just go ahead and take the steps that ought to be taken. We'll seek to answer those questions and the questions of Galamsey. You have to say no to Galamsey. That's the hashtag. We'll deal with those as well. Now, 3 of my guests are in the studio. Regular panelist and senior journalist, editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdul Malik Kubako Jr., here going over his load of documents. There's another, pile under here. And also joining us is Gary Nemako, a very good friend of mine. He's with the NPP as well. And he's also brought a book here with so many pages that he has marked and is getting ready to open them. So we should be getting ready for some education, probably some legal education on some of the issues that we'll be looking at. And John Jinapo is the former deputy power minister. At a point, he was de facto power minister. And he's an MP. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the show. Right. Good morning. We will be joined by Kofi Bentil of Imani. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Great. Now, we will go to Parliament and listen to what happened and come back and deal with, first of all, what happened in Parliament very briefly so that we can move on.
Apology pursuant to the recommendations of the Special Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament. And it says, pursuant to paragraph 141 of the report of the Special Committee to investigate the bribery allegation and the decision of this Honorable House adopting the report, I hereby render an unqualified apology to this Honorable House of Parliament. Thank you. That's what it says.
In all the circumstances of this case, I have come to the conclusion that the Honorable Ayariga should be shown the quality of mercy on this occasion. May he go and sin no more. He is warned never to peddle such expensive rumors anymore in his affairs in this house. I must extend a warning to some 4 or 5 honorable members who deem it proper to make untoward noise, apparently in support of Honorable Ayariga, regarding the conduct for which the Honorable Ayariga has now apologized. Honorable Ayariga, if this should be repeated in the future, after today's ruling, you will have yourself to blame. I trust the Honorable First Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Muntaka, and the entire House will forgive and put this matter to rest. Thank you, honorable members.
Right, so you heard the Honorable Ayariga render his apology, which was a written apology, and then you heard the Speaker of Parliament taking the place of God, so to speak, and granting him mercy, and that he should go and sin no more. He sounded like when I read Shakespeare, particularly, is it, okay, The Merchant of Venice, right? Now, let me start with my guests in the studio, and this time around I'll start with a Member of Parliament, a Member of Parliament who is here, John Jinapo, who was also in the House and who, together with his colleagues, had reservations earlier about the process. And you still hear them in the media suggest that Ayariga ought to have been given the opportunity to cross-examine, and in the absence of the opportunity to cross-examine, it was unfair, the way he was dealt with, and all of that. We'll also ask the question, why Shraj has been misleading the public and journalists who have just been lazy, not examining the false hope that Shraj has been giving them, that Shraj was waiting, and that when this was over and it was not satisfied, it could go into the matter. I shudder to think what Shraj has been up to in its offices, because this is just not doable. I don't know what they have been up to. Okay, so Kofi,
yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great.
And I'm invited to celebrate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Now, John, is that all of it? You know, people are beginning to have doubts about the strength of Parliament and what it is able to do. Because if you agree that this was false, this was lies that were told, these were lies that were told, and it has brought the image of Parliament so down, all it takes is to have the man give an apology, and give an apology in a way that appears he was even forced, that he didn't give it on his own volition. People don't want to take you serious anymore. What do you say?
On the contrary, I think that Parliament has dealt with the issue the way it ought to be dealt with. The truth is that this matter has left a lot of people divided, as you rightly said. Some people still have some reservations about the whole process. Ayariga himself, when he was given the opportunity, did indicate that he wished he had the opportunity to cross-examine some of the witnesses in terms of appearing before the committee. Be that as it may, I think that it was a bipartisan committee. The NDC was fairly represented, that's the minority, and the majority was also fairly represented. And so they went into the matter, and as you would admit, they were to establish the facts. And the truth is that in establishing the facts, there are ingredients to establish the facts or otherwise of the matter. And so the committee went into the matter and determined that they could not substantiate the allegation that Honorable Boachajako gave money to be given to members of the appointments committee to influence them. What I do recall is that Ayariga gave a chronology of events that he believed happened. I do not recall Ayariga directly accusing the Minister of Energy. I recall Ayariga stating that some monies were given. Later, when he inquired from Muntaka, this is the information he had, and returned it. Muntaka denied it. And so, ab initio, it would appear that Ayariga did not directly accuse the minister. Ayariga did not directly accuse some other people, but stated that this is what happened. Look, the short and long of it is that the committee...
Aren't you trivializing this issue? That someone of the stature of Ayariga goes on radio and says that we were bribed, and the bribe money, according to our leader, came from a candidate for ministerial position.
Yes.
And that it came through the chairman of the appointments committee.
That's what he said.
And you say it was not direct accusation, and so it changes the importance.
I'm saying that is what Ayariga said. And you've just re-emphasized exactly what I said. You can then begin to interrogate that and to place weight on it or to subject it to further scrutiny. But I'm saying that this is what Ayariga said. Ayariga did not directly accuse the minister that the minister brought money. He says that Muntaka told him the minister brought money. Whether he should have gone on air, whether he should have done further checks, whether he should, as a member of parliament, have exercised some caution before going to the media, is a matter that we can all discuss. I'm saying so because I think that my information would even be beneficial to the minister. That right from day one, people in the public couldn't have been accusing the minister directly because the accusation wasn't leveled directly at the minister. So I just thought that I should put that in perspective so that next time when we are discussing these issues, we put them within the proper context.
What difference does it make that someone tells the world that you gave money to pay people as bribes so that they can pass you? It doesn't get any serious than that, does it?
It means that let's establish the facts.
I don't think it changes anything from how you decide to narrate the story. You give the narration.
Well, these are opinions. That's your opinion. I hold a different opinion. And let's have our opinions. Okay. But the facts are there. And the facts were established based on the committee's work. I think that Ayariga has done the honorable thing. He's rendered the apology. The speaker has accepted it. The speaker did indicate that it would appear this is the first time such an incident was occurring from Ayariga's side, reprimanded him, cautioned him. It should only help us reform Parliament much, much better. As you rightly said, people are asking questions. And if you work in Parliament, you would come to a fair conclusion that a lot more room is available for us to continue to strengthen the institution, to make Parliament much more responsive to the needs and aspirations of the country, so that we continue to do a good job for the people of Ghana. But clearly, people will hold different opinion, and that is a fact.
You think that Parliament has the moral authority from now to invite any member of the public before its privileges committee and to claim that they have made a comment that, you know, denigrates the Parliament, and so they are going to deal with them in the most embarrassing manner in which they have dealt with citizens of this country?
I don't think that Ayariga was treated differently from what Parliament has done to other people.
He was treated with kid gloves.
To call an
He was
honorable
asked to
member,
apologize. He refused to apologize.
as far as I'm concerned.
Or he gave a half-hearted apology.
Yes. So
he was giving a whole week or two to reconsider his decision and come back and to apologize.
He wasn't given a whole week or two. I'm a member of Parliament. What I do know is that, in his opinion, he rendered an apology. The Speaker said, no, I will not accept this form of apology. And you rightly said that it's halfway or whatever you choose to do. But the Speaker said, no, I want an unconditional apology. And in Parliament, a lot of work is done behind the scenes. When I say behind the scenes, I'm not talking of collusion or people going to sit and plan all kinds of nefarious activities. But I'm saying that we do a lot of consultation so that even before you come to apologize, bear in mind that was the second opportunity, the speaker must be clear that you are indeed coming to apologize.
Okay.
He must be certain that you are coming to meet the standards that he sets. And so I think that, look, give and take, the right thing has been done.
So the matter is over now.
Let us move on. Let us move on as a nation.
Right, Gary. Do you think that an ordinary member of this of the country, a citizen, their constituents, if had found themselves before them for having said one thing, like Egbert said some time ago through his newspaper, that described them as boys and girls, and got hauled before the Privileges Committee, that they would have treated that person the manner they treated Ayariga?
Well, so let me first of all say good morning to our cherished viewers and then our fellow panelists. I want to thank God for your life. In fact, when I heard the news of the accident, I was, I said, well, and the nature of the vehicle being damaged, the mangled nature, I realized that no, God has saved you, and I called you to that effect.
Yeah.
When I heard your voice, I said, look, at least I think that there's life in your body.
Right.
We thank God for that. Now, on the issue of Ayariga, saga, and Parliament, I have made my views consistently clear that this matter was much ado about nothing. You see, Samuel, you are a lawyer, and the rule of the game is evidence. You see, people's reputations were on the line. Honorable Joe Seusu, Honorable Muntaka, Honorable Wajakon. See, people with reputations. Then you go about, saying certain things that you cannot substantiate. That was my problem. Look, listening to the information that was already in the public domain, I said this case will not end anyway. In fact, I prejudged the matter before the committee came out with their findings. Because I said, look, if this is what they are going to play out at the committee, then they are going to waste everybody's time. And clearly, the ruling was nothing new. Clearly, what the man didn't put any evidence before the court. Before the committee. Just he said, well, we should go by his word. I mean, how can you go by your word? You can't go by your word. You must give evidence that indeed certain monies had changed hands for the purpose of what? Bribing you or influencing you. Now, on the issue of how Ayariga was treated, looking at his demeanor alone, I don't think that Honorable Ayariga was really remorseful of what he has done. Look at how he read. After reading the thing, he just said, yeah, I've done it. Take it, yeah, that is it. Look, if you can play the video again. He did not show any remorse. And clearly, I think that, the people who are involved in these matters, they cannot just sit down and look at their reputation being dented in this manner, and then they just say, well, he has apologized, and therefore that is it. I don't think that is it. I think that he did not show any remorse. It appears, in my view, that he was apologizing because he's been told to apologize, but not because he himself realized that he did not provide any evidence before the committee to back the allegation that he himself put, on these honorable members. And I think that this is very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. So even the punishment that he should just apologize and go, I think it would be given a serious sanction. That's my view, because I have heard the view that, look, at the end of the committee sitting, if it is found out that the allegations were baseless, they were false, Honorable Ayariga should be given the harshest punishment. I was not expecting an apology. But be that is may, once the House has decided they should apologize in the wisdom of the Speaker, we will take it that maybe...
He said the harshest punishment, and according to what the rules provide, that means that he would have been expelled.
The Speaker couldn't have done that.
You see...
There's something that could have happened, and he would... There's something that would have happened, and he would not be a member of Parliament. That's the point.
That would have been the best, in my view. That would have been the best in my view. Because you see, you do not go to town with people's reputations. Let me tell you, all that we have in our lives is our reputations and nothing more. And therefore, if people go on a certain tangent to damage your reputation or your image without any basis, I don't think we should take it lightly at all. But are you
really convinced that it is the case that he peddled rumor or baseless allegations or lie, or that it is the fact that technically dealing with proving was difficult to prove?
Mr. Ladi, I think that, and my views are consistent, I think that if Honorable Ayariga thought that this allegation had any basis, he ought to have provided the evidence before the committee, period. You see, look at the manner with which he said he took the money. He said he went there, they gave him 3,000 Ghana cedis. Went home, slept with the money, and then later on came to inquire. And then they said, well, the money is coming from Honorable Wajako to influence them.
No, that's not what he said.
That's what I put out there. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But the bottom line is that I keep asking, what is the modus of collecting per diems or whatever in Parliament? Is it by cash handouts?
Yes.
It's by cash handouts?
Yes,
Every Monday you collect by cash handouts?
That has been challenged, except you alone. If you are saying that is yes, that has been challenged.
Oh, that is
that
wrong.
you do a work this week and the same week you go and take cash.
Is that what they done?
And that somebody takes the cash and signs on behalf of all of you?
No, that's a different
The
thing.
procedure has been
question
established. That is wrong.
Do they give cash in terms of per diem? That was the essence, and I'm saying it happens.
Inusa Fuseni, the member of parliament for Tamale Central, says that's wrong. It never happens that way.
If he says it's
That
wrong,
the
fine.
money always will have to be remitted into your account.
That is so. Honorable George Low, on a program with
And in
me-
any case, you take the money quarterly, perhaps, not just immediately when you are done with the job.
For instance, let me give you an example. If I go for a seminar or I go for a retreat, say in Akosombo, when I'm leaving Akosombo, I'll be given cash for my fuel.
That is
I'll be
fuel
given
money.
Now, but why do they give allowances?
And
Is it not because you go? What
if
allowances do
I
you?
may further query,
All right.
further interrogate, is the cost of the money as much as 3,000 Ghana cedis for your fuel?
You are moving us into another.
No,
The thing is that do
You see,
we give
because-
cash?
no,
And
because-
you are
because
going to
see,
quantums and
you-
all that.
you introduced it, so-
the bottom line is that
No, he
it's very
introduced
clear.
it.
Let's hear from Kofi Bento. Are you satisfied, regardless?
No, I'm saddened. And my angle is very different. If you remember the last time I was here, we touched on this issue. And the point I made was that our parliament seems to have a culture of cash collections. It is a very notorious thing. People know it. Everybody complains. Apparently, they won't even pass laws from government except after they've been paid. And this culture has led to the point where you are taking 3,000 and so in envelopes. That kind of culture is terrible. And I made the point. I said it is undermining our democracy as we speak. And it's not to be taken lightly. Samson, here is where, or how I see this thing. From the beginning of this whole scandal, there is not one single person that I spoke to who commented about it, who expected anything good to come out of it. Gary just confirmed it. Not a single sensible person said anything will come out of it. Joe Gatti is very respected. All the members there, we all know them. But how come everybody said this will come to nothing? It tells you that we don't have any confidence in our parliament being a self-cleansing institution. And that is worrisome. Because we've gone all around and the people have been proven right. That nothing came out of this. Meanwhile, what happened is a direct threat to our democracy. You have an allegation by a member of parliament saying that somebody who was under parliamentary scrutiny has paid people in parliament not to exercise their franchise.
An allegation corroborated by two others.
By two members of parliament.
No, it's word of mouth.
It's a huge issue.
Kofi, it's all word of mouth.
But you see, that's the point. The point is, you have members of parliament attacking the integrity of the house.
Well,
On an issue like this, and you have the public saying openly that these people, we know they've been collecting money. This thing, nothing will come of it. And truly, nothing has come of it. For me, that is the problem. Look, it is not just about the members of parliament or Ayariga Oku.
Nothing has come of the investigation.
I'm telling you that people didn't expect that anything would come of it. For instance, Ayariga was going to walk away. There will be no evidence. This whole so-called investigation will be like a charade. And honorable,
Okay,
we are looking from outside.
You're rather beginning to explain from a different perspective. Otherwise, what I've heard people say confirms what you said, that they didn't expect anything to come out of it. Yesterday, I was moderating a program for the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Serious people had gathered, and I spoke to some people, and they said, we didn't expect anything different to come out of this thing. And I felt that what they meant rather was a vindication that Ayariga was speaking the truth. So they were expecting that Ayariga would have been vindicated in the process.
Let me also tell you some of the things that people are saying. Just a minute.
That's what I mean.
Hold it. I mean, something came out of it. Ayariga was... No, I'm not quoting
That's what
you.
I mean. What I mean is that in the absence of evidence, you cannot prove any case.
I understand
That's
that.
what I mean. I'm not saying that the report or whatever is being concocted or more. No, that's what I'm saying.
And by that, you guys were seeking ocular proof, video proof, or something like that.
Yes.
Is that what the process you use always in court to prove a case?
Exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah, but when you bring a matter to court and you don't bring evidence to back your matter, how do you get a judgment?
Sometimes you use testimonies,
Yes.
and they weigh it on the balance of probabilities.
yes.
But when you weigh the testimony, if
Circumstantial
you weigh the
evidence, you and I
testimony,
know.
if you weigh this testimony vis-a-vis what occurred, clearly Ayariga ought to
Okay.
ought to
Okay.
feel-
Okay. Just one
Let
example.
Kofi finish his point. Yeah.
You know, many people, you and I have been talking to plenty of people, they will tell you, some people believe there was an exchange of money.
Right.
Okay, they believe so, based on all the different things that they've triangulated and I've heard about Parliament. And I'm telling you, it is undermining people's confidence in Parliament. And they still believe nothing will come out of it.
believe that Wache Yaku attempted bribing them.
No, they didn't give me those details.
But how do they believe that there was exchange of money
Because
when they cannot believe that the
because
money
there's
came
a
from Wache Yaku?
notorious view out there. And I'm speaking from outside. Honorable, you can choose not to believe it.
It's not about me believing it.
But so I'm telling you
It's not
something from
about me
outside
believing
that
it. No.
we, the people of Ghana, have been told over and over again, and some have evidence of
Yes.
cash being carried into Parliament.
We
who
know
to
for a
who?
fact.
I am telling you,
So-
evidence is not only what happens on video, but I'm telling you that we, the people,
Kofi,
who fought for this
but
democracy,
Kofi,
that you are undermining,
Please let him
please
finish.
take it seriously.
You can't
Because
choose just one side.
I'm not choosing one side. I'm
And say the
telling you.
parliamentarians accept.
Please,
Who
please,
gives?
please, you have made your point.
I'm sorry.
Can he also
I'm
complete
sorry.
his point? Yeah.
So something,
Yeah.
for right or for wrong, many people, parliamentary watchers, believe our parliament is heavily influenced by money exchanges on both sides. And even though people believe that money was exchanged, okay, and many people tell you Ijaku would have passed anyway, so it's not about him or whatever. It's not about the individual. It's about this perception. And then the same people will tell you that they will go and do whatever they want to do, call it an investigation, whatever it is, and nothing serious will come out of it.
Okay.
People will just walk, life will go on, and then we will keep moving on. My worry is, what does it do to the credibility of that house?
Right.
If people don't believe you are passing laws properly and reading them and making sure you are checking everything for our safety, okay? Today we'll discuss a Mary. We'll discuss all kinds of things that have come out of Parliament. I have had to go to court a number of times on bills that have been passed from Parliament with terrible mistakes and things inside which were horrible. And you ask, another notorious thing, that they don't read in Parliament. So this mindset is reinforced by this whole thing all over again. And it's unfortunate.
Now I have to caution you to be careful before you are hauled for contempt
I am
of Parliament.
saying this is the general view. So I am saying the general view. No, don't take what I'm saying out of context. There is a view there, and I don't believe Honorable Ijaku paid money. He didn't need to.
But you believe that the parliamentarians took
I am saying there is a general view in the populace, and that view is not held by things.
It's backed by what evidence?
Okay.
You see, if you want me to give you evidence here, you won't leave.
Okay.
But evidence is not only what is
Thank
on
you.
video.
Thank
So
you.
look, my take
Thank
on
you.
this is that parliamentarians themselves are the ones who can uphold Parliament and make
Right.
the rest of us believe them. We need them for this democracy to be valid and to progress. So it's all up to them.
And your take begins with your first comment before you even started to discuss this, that our Parliament has a culture of cash collection. And you speak to NGOs that have had to do work in Parliament, and they tell you without any reservation that the MPs will not move an inch unless you pay. But, Kweku, is this the same situation we are talking about here? And why do you think the public is disappointed at the outcome?
Well, I haven't done a survey of
Generally.
the public yet. Yes, but I appreciate the fact that out there are voices that are not happy with what has happened.
That's right.
I've heard it, but it's not a survey.
Okay.
Now, last Wednesday, I made my position clear. I still thought an apology rendered by Ayariga would be sufficient, an unqualified apology, not the apology of an apology that he rendered earlier. I think this is a better apology than the earlier one, even though he did no justice to himself that this had to be more or less induced through some other means. Because one, I see him as a first offender, in spite of the seriousness of the allegation he put forward. I was thinking that perhaps a little escalation of how a form of apology, I'm not sure, I didn't watch the thing carefully, whether he did render the apology from the bar of the house or at his seat. Yes, I feel uncomfortable with that. I think they should have escalated the mode of the delivery of the apology by making him render that apology from the bar of the house because of what happened earlier. That's what I think. But still, nonetheless, it's an apology, meaning that I'm stopping short of the other sanctions, which we all know could have been meted out to him based on procedures that are in the Parliament Act 1965. You know, he could be expelled through a process. A motion will be filed, 2/3 will have to come in and all the rest. But that, I think, would have been extreme. See, this Jogate committee exercise is an improvement on earlier things we had gone through.
Really?
Yes, it's an improvement. We've had allegations made by members of parliament relative to bribery and corruption. We had Bagmin making such statements. The matter was referred to the Committee of Privileges. We had PC Apia Ofori making such statements. It was referred to the Committee of Privileges. We had Chumasi Apia riding on PC Apia Ofori's allegation. It became a subject matter and was referred to the Privileges Committee by the Speaker of Parliament. And there are few other, I'm talking here, I'm restricting myself to issues involving members of the House that had been referred to the Committee of Privileges. Ask yourself what were the outcomes of those processes. We didn't even hear. Some of us have tried searching for the information and you hardly get anything. You check the Hansard, there have been some arguments over it, but not a report. So in terms of findings and recommendations of those privileges committees' work, nothing really to show. That's what I mean. When I said this is an improvement.
Okay.
That's the context. In this case, at least, the committee sat largely in public, mainly. Then they had an in-camera hearing to look at a certain evidence. The committee's report is made public, read in full before the House. The findings and recommendations are made. Then out of it comes first the earlier apology, which was a disaster, and now this unqualified apology with the Speaker's ruling. That's what I mean. Okay. At least this has come up with something. It may be an indicator as to how we move forward later. There are also precedents in history as to how members of parliament were put before the Privileges Committee. If you recall 1971, as Mr. Samoku Joto, he was walked out, if he refused to apologize. So the Speaker had to get a marshal to walk him out of parliament. There was an allegation by Dr. Liman against Dr. Joseph Orata that was investigated too, and there was chaos in parliament relative to what should be done. So I'm saying that when I look back, this one is an improvement. That's what I mean. Now, as to what was the expectation, yes, I knew nothing would come out of it to the extent of something of evidential value to back the allegation.
Okay.
It was clear. I told you last week we were invited to embark on a wild goose chase. To that extent, it's irritating. It's annoying. See, there may be a subculture of cash deliveries and things in parliament. My brother John referred to maybe a workshop or a seminar attended in Akusum. I don't put that in the same context like the Ayariga one. See, if you are working in parliament, for instance, specific case, the appointments committee and its proceedings, how do you collect your allowances for that work in parliament? It's different, see, sometimes when you go, and we journalists are also part of that whole thing. When we attend those kind of things,
Right.
they bring envelopes. Call it Soli, call it TNT, call it whatever name. That animal is there with an ethical challenge, even for us.
You're right.
That's not the same thing. Like working in a parliamentary committee in the expectation of having your allowance paid because you've done overtime or you've done weekends and all the rest. In the Joe Gatti report, it is put there black and white. Those things are dealt with by the Accounts Department of Parliament. So, a difficulty, yeah, there's a system. There's a system. That's distinct from the other side. Even if when you go for the workshops and things, the people, sometimes those companies or organizations may route the monies through the clerks or the heads of parliamentary bodies. Fine. But that's distinct from what you are expected to receive as a member of parliament working on the appointment committee, for instance. There's a mode of delivery and receipt. And it's documented, and indeed you sign for it eventually. Somebody doesn't sign for you for accountability purposes. It was obvious this whole rumor-driven thing was not worth our time.
Okay.
Okay, so the way I see it, I think that, to be honest, I don't think Parliament has seriously hurt its reputation. I don't think so. That's my view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the views and the comments that's been shared by panelists on the show. If you are just joining us, this is Newsfile. It's brought to you by the kind sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN. Welcome to the new world. ACAP Compost Fertilizer, that's a truly natural fertilizer. Breeze ERP, that is an innovative product of Websoft Soft Solutions. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. Now, we'll get to some other issues here. But I'll confess this to you, that when I led Muntaka to that committee, you would have heard that we began by an initial, sort of objection where we suggested that we would want to cross-examine the people who were accusing him. The confession is that it was part of the strategy so that if in the end it went some way, we'll use those as the basis to challenge the process.
Wow.
Ayariga went there, didn't raise anything, sat and went through, belated. Now he's crying.
I like that. That's interesting.
That's why I think that his point about the cross-examination is a very germane point.
It is a very
that the evidence ought to have been tested.
It's a very valid
See,
point.
what was he going to cross-examine? What was he going to cross-examine?
On what?
It's the procedure.
In his case,
It's procedural justice.
What wouldn't he examine on what?
Listen,
On what?
It is a
in his
procedure.
case, let's be honest.
Is it
This
procedure
is a waste
or
of
the
time.
allegation
What was he going to cross-examine on?
Okay, you are talking about
What was
substance.
Samson going to cross-examine?
No, people are accusing
let's
you.
not wait.
So you, yeah.
This case,
Contrary to what you say,
this
ABCD.
case is closed. Let's
Okay.
move on.
All right.
Fine.
Thank you
Let's
very
move on.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you
let's
very
move on.
much.
Yeah,
Now.